So, you guys have seen us reviewing this killer budget camera from Sony back in 2022. That was a 3-year experience review of the first unit that we got. Now, it's the story of our second unit of the a6400. We actually bought this during the pandemic, because since we are heavily into production as well as upscaling our content dimension, this second unit was a must for us. And it's still kicking, still doing great, making this a 5-year experience review. 5 years of shooting, traveling, and putting this thing through real-world use. But the real question is, does it still hold up, or is it finally time to move on? Let's find out. Alright, let's talk about why the a6400 refuses to fade into irrelevance. First up, autofocus. 6 years later, Sony's real-time tracking and eye autofocus are still ridiculously good. Sure, newer cameras like the a6700 and even some Fujifilm models have stepped up their AI-driven autofocus game, but for a sub-$1,000 camera, this is still one of the best you can get. It's fast, it's sticky, and it just works. This 25-megapixel APS-C sensor, it still delivers. The dynamic range, the sharpness, the colors, it's all here. And if you shoot RAW, this thing gives you a lot of room to tweak in the post. Look at some of these shots we took recently. Now, even in 2025, the a6400 holds its own against newer APS-C cameras. If you don't need crazy high megapixels or full frame depth of field, you're not missing much here. And for video shooters, yeah, it's not perfect, but 4K on this camera is still sharp, oversampled, and pretty damn usable. You get 4K at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 120 frames per second, and the footage looks good right out of the camera. The locked-off shots in low-light conditions still look great. Sony's color science is still great after all this time, and with the right tweaks, the a6400's footage still punches above its weight. The Sony a6400 was a beast when it first dropped, but in 2025, it's starting to show its age. A lot of features that were once impressive now feel a little behind the times, especially when you compare them to newer cameras on the market. First up, the design. The a6400's body hasn't changed much from the a6000, and while it was compact and portable back in the day, now it feels a bit cramped. You've got a mode dial and a single command dial, but for anyone who prefers a more hands-on tactile approach, this setup feels outdated. In 2025, more physical controls are pretty much expected at this price point, and the a6400 just doesn't deliver in that department. When it comes to external controls, the a6400 offers 89 customizable functions. But here's the catch. Most of them are buried deep in menus or accessible via small buttons. It's all about speed and ease of use now, and this camera just doesn't cut it anymore. Newer cameras have intuitive dials, knobs, and shortcuts that make everything more fluid. The a6400, with its digital-heavy design, feels like it's stuck in the past. Now, the micro HDMI port, it's still an absolute pain. Every time we need to use an external monitor, we have to attach an HDMI converter. The problem? The micro HDMI just can't support the weight of the converter and the cable, leading to constant displacement. And what's worse, it damages the converter over time, forcing us to buy a new one every so often. It still pisses us off to this day, honestly. A mini HDMI would have been so much better here. It's one of those little things that shouldn't be a problem, but it still is. Then there's the rear screen. At 921K dots, this 3-inch display was decent back when the a6400 came out, but now it's hard to ignore how underwhelming it is. It's not great for stills with that 3:2 ratio, and in bright light, good luck getting a clear view. But you can just ignore that as we did, since we have monitors to connect and check out the footage ourselves from a better perspective. The viewfinder and screen quality aren't doing it any favors either. The a6400's EVF with 2.35 million dots is fine, but when you compare it to the high-res EVFs you're seeing in today's cameras, it just doesn't hold up. In a world where sharper, brighter displays are the norm, the a6400's viewfinder feels like a step back. Let's talk about in-body stabilization. Back when the a6400 came out, you could live without it, but in 2025, it's a huge deal. IBIS is standard now, especially for vloggers and handheld shooters, and not having it in the a6400 really limits its flexibility. If you're vlogging or shooting handheld video, you'll definitely notice the shakes, and you'll probably have to rely on a gimbal or stabilized lenses. It's just not as versatile anymore, especially with IBIS being so common on new cameras. Finally, while the 180-degree tilting screen is perfect for vloggers, the camera's weight is something to consider. It's definitely heavier than most compact cameras or smartphones, which can make handheld shooting a bit uncomfortable to some. But even though there's a chance that you might find it a bit clunky, there's a good trade-off because the processed footage that you will be getting with this is just better. So, now you know. However, when you put the a6400 up against today's competition, it starts to fall short. Newer cameras offer better autofocus, sharper screens, and more professional features, all at similar or better prices. The a6400 was a great choice when it came out, but in 2025, it's feeling a bit outdated in a world of smarter, more capable cameras. So, let's cut to the chase. Is the Sony a6400 still worth your time in 2025? For beginners looking to get into photography or video without breaking the bank, it absolutely still holds up. Even though you're going to struggle with the battery life, but with its excellent autofocus, fast burst shooting, and solid image quality, it's one of the best budget-friendly APS-C cameras out there. If you're just starting out, this camera is going to give you fantastic results without a hefty price tag. To our experience, high-end users have probably skipped this video already. But from our honest opinion, if you're into handheld video, vlogging, or dynamic content, there are definitely better options today. Newer models like the ZV, E10-2, or a6700 offer features like IBIS, better rolling shutter performance, and more efficient video-centric features that the a6400 simply can't compete with. If you're shooting high motion or want the most up-to-date tech, those newer models are better suited for your needs. Now, if you're on a budget or considering buying a used a6400, it's definitely worth checking out. But make sure you inspect the shutter count, battery health, and screen wear before making a purchase. These are things that could impact the overall longevity of the camera, but if you find one in good condition, it can still be a solid purchase. For us, the a6400 has surprised us by holding up far better than expected. It's not the flashiest, and it doesn't have the latest tech, but that's exactly why I still keep it in my kit. It's proof that a good camera can remain relevant for years, and sometimes the value of reliability and performance trumps the need for constant upgrades. So, what do you think? Is the a6400 still worth using, or is it time for an upgrade? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.